But this time I'm 15 or 16 years old when they're researching and trying to get customers, clients, if you will, signed up. It was a done deal. Everyone wanted electricity, as within my range of acquaintances anyway. And we had a neighbor that lived about a mile and a half north of us who I believe was on a committee named George Walter Clark. And George Walter Clark worked hard in the community getting people signed up. And in fact, George Walter Clark furnished the hayfield, pasture, if you will, for the big electrical picnic that they demonstrated to the community what you could do with electricity when the time came. And there were a lot of people parked up and down the road that came and were fascinated by what they had already seen in town, but now it's ours, you know. Pretty important, even though I was not a provider yet in our family. I'm sure as I look back on it that heads of the household were glad to see electricity come for convenience, of course, but then there were other opportunities as well as they grew into the system. But we folks out in the country were left out on a limb, so to speak. We needed and could use electricity, but how was it going to happen? There were so few customers along a mile of line that it wasn't hardly practical to go out and invest in labor and materials and build a line that would service everyone up and down the road. But during that same time, people in Washington were kicking ideas around, and one of the things that happened was the rural electrification legislation caused us to be able to have a solid a co-op organization with money available to do what had to be done, so that co-ops like our Tri-County Electric could go out and make this investment in labor and materials. And it was a manual job, hard work in all kinds of weather, and they did it, you know. And because they committed themselves under those circumstances, we had electricity, and it didn't just fall out of the sky and we ran and plugged into it. There was an awful lot of manual labor and commitment for guys to went out day after day and did those same menial jobs with one thing in mind, and that was to furnish electricity to everyone who was along the line and had signed up for it. And my hat is off to those guys, because I have worked many days outside in all kinds of weather as a farmer and as a builder. And it isn't always a piece of cake.